Was that one of those? Okay, so we're live at 11:05. When he does that, that means we're on.
Okay.
Dr. Clark. We've known each other for a while.
That's right.
Yeah,
And this is not the first exotic project we've been involved in either.
You know,
I was going to drive the Packard over here today to show you all the things I've done to it. The battery was dead and I couldn't get it started.
Oh no. Well, when you first told me about the Packard, now you've had a ton of patients who've seen you briefly.
Oh yeah.
Very briefly.
Right. And I'm usually upside down.
Yeah. So you're an anesthesiologist.
That's right.
So we're talking about your Packard. My daughter was about to go into surgery, so you made a quick appearance, and you're telling me about the Packard, and you wanted to do fuel injection on a Chevy motor.
Right, right.
I've seen the Packard. It is like, it's a reproduction, but it's
Right.
original.
Right.
I mean, it is so close to original.
Right. Well, it's one of Dwight Bond's second chance classic Packards. He only made 8 of them that were turnkey, and I've got one of them.
Mm-hmm.
But all the body, all the fenders, all the molds were pulled off an original 33 Packard rumble seat roadster. And so, I mean, it's about as original, it's about as Packardy as you can get without it being the real thing.
Well, I'll have to admit, I lost about this much respect for you for a second when you told me it had a Chevy motor in it. I was like, you what? But then it's a really nice car.
Yeah, yeah.
So anyway, you got another really nice car, and you're making this a driver, obviously.
Exactly. Yeah, this car was not this car, but the same body style, the 2-door hardtop, same color combination. Was the very first car that I had when I was 16 years old. I'm 72 now, so that's been a while ago. It's one of those cars that you wish had never gotten away from you.
Mm-hmm.
And of course I sold it like a dumb kid would and got something a little bit sportier, I thought. Always wish I had it back. So this car has been on my bucket list for a long time, and I thought when you retire, you need to get another one and you need to make it a driver. My initial instinct was to buy a restorable car and jerk the engine and transmission out of it and do an LS conversion and do all the things that people want to do with resto mods these days. But this car was in such nice shape, and the engine runs good. And I thought, you know, if you do all that stuff, you're going to spend a lot of money, and you'll have something that is going to be too complicated for you to work on. And I'm kind of a nut and bolt kind of guy.
Honestly, I think you're just slightly ahead of the curve. Because this makes more sense.
Right.
It's a good motor.
Oh yeah.
It's going to last a long time.
Right.
And you'll make it modern efficient.
Yeah, those 235 inline 6s, I think they made them from like 1939 to 70, mid-70s, and they're bulletproof, and they'll run forever.
Parts.
So anyway, it's got plenty of power, but I want it to be all that it can be, and that's why we're talking about getting rid of that old Rochester carburetor and turning it into a doorstop and putting a good fuel injection system on it.
So you got a decent car. You said you got it out of Arizona, it came from California. And
Right, that's the story.
fairly rust-free that you can tell, and it looks that way.
Oh yeah, it's not bad. It's got a little rust on it, but not bad. And the engine runs good, and they'd already done some things to it that I would have done anyway. They already had put an alternator on it. It's got front discs. Maybe someday I'll put rear discs on it. It doesn't have the stock rear end. I can tell that because it doesn't look right. And the other thing is the speedometer's way off, and I'll have to tackle that problem at some point in time. But things I've done to it, got rid of the mechanical fan, put an electric fan on it. The engine did not have any sort of fuel filtration or oil filtration system on it. A lot of these engines did not have. And I forget what year they came up with a full flow system, but it was probably 58, 59, somewhere along in there for the 6-cylinder. Before that, if you wanted to put a filter on them, you had to do a bypass system, which basically was just a little parallel circuit that percolated the oil through a filter. It all eventually got filtered, but it didn't all get filtered every time it went through the engine. So anyway, I've done that.
I know a few doctors that are doctors by trade, but their passions were actually somewhere else.
Right.
You're not a car guy, are you?
No, I'm not a car guy. You know, I'm from that age. Lived and brought up with very modest means, and I was the kind of guy that if I didn't want to walk everywhere, I had to learn how to work on my own vehicles.
Show us some of what you've done already, which is some really neat stuff.
Well, again, I put a remote filtration system on it for both the transmission. It's got a 2-speed power glide and the engine, so easy to service here. When you're working on your vehicle inside the shop in confined quarters, you're not getting a lot of airflow through the radiator. I put a on-off switch here in parallel.
That's a great idea. I hadn't seen it before.
So that you can run your fan constantly and not have to wait for the thermostat to kick it in. I set back the radiator here a couple inches with some brackets and put a fan in, electric fan. Got rid of that fan blade, which steals horsepower. Eventually, once we make this engine all that it can be from a horsepower standpoint, I would like to be able to put air conditioning on it. Went ahead and got rid of the stock exhaust manifold and put a split header system on it. And right now I've got a cobbled up mess down here with the exhaust going from 2 to 1. I've still got the standard 2-inch exhaust pipe. Jason and I were talking a little while ago about what to do about that, and he thought my best bet definitely would be to maintain 2 into 1, maybe go to a 2.5-inch exhaust, fine exhaust and muffler, but not do duals on it because of the back pressure and the scavenging that you need with a smaller exhaust pipe. So anyway, a lot of people think that duals are cool, they look cool, maybe they sound cool, but they may not do anything for it for performance. So what I'm trying to do is,
Mathematics plays a part in
Oh, yeah.
not running.
Right.
So it's
Right.
sometimes
Well,
those formulas are pretty important.
and turbulence of
Exactly.
for airflow going out the exhaust pipe.
Exactly.
So you got to have that piston effect pushing the exhaust out. You don't want it to rolling around trying to figure out how to get out. Anyway, that's basically all I've done to it. Like I said, they already had put a nice dual chamber brake setup on it, proportioning valve. If I ever put a set of rear discs on the rear end, disc brakes on the rear end, I'll be ready for that. But the front ones work good, and the rack ones work good right now. I may never do anything with that. Somebody already put an alternator on it. So anyway, all we need now is a good carburation system. I think we're ready to go.
We got it over here.
Yeah,
Well, let's
right.
show it. Well, what you already moved us ahead on the back too.
That's right. Yeah.
It saved us some time. So tell us what you did there.
Well, for the return line, you just have to you got to get your fuel back in the tank somehow. And the easiest place to do it was in the filler neck that goes between the filler and the pipe. It's about 18 inches long, goes down and makes a bend into the tank. And I simply found a convenient spot there, drilled it gingerly, grease around the drill bit slow so you don't make any sparks.
Yeah.
And got the hole through there, tapped it with the pipe tap, and then put a right angle fitting on with a 5/16 hose barb type fitting so we can slide the return line back over the top. This is the coolest part about 56 Chevys, I always thought, is this setup right here.
Yep. So that's pretty major. It probably took you a little while to do that, and kind of one of those you had to be patient to get it done.
Well, fortunately, I've got a lift in my shop,
Uh-huh.
and so it made it a lot easier. Everything makes it easier if you got a lift in your shop.
It does.
It's one of those things that doesn't cost really a whole lot of money, and I wish I'd done 30 years ago.
Yep. So here's all the stuff. This is actually a prop. So
Okay.
it's a prop side here. So we're going to get this. So we're going to do product previews. So
Well,
we're not getting paid for this, but it's a pretty cool setup.
yeah. And I don't really know much about it. We're just taking it out of the box here
Exactly.
today.
We're taking it out of the box and looking at the parts, and we'll figure it out. This stuff has come so far.
Right.
Computers. It's not a skill I want to learn. So we got some people now that are skilled at that, programming and all that stuff. But the computer comes with it. This came as a kit, just like this, right?
Yeah. And I forget, I think the whole thing costs about $1,500. I bought it from Jake's.
Uh huh.
And it's got all the fittings you need, and an electric fuel pump, and fuel pressure regulator. I think is actually built into the carburetor.
Is it?
The computer control module is actually built into the carburetor over here on the side of what looks like a float chamber, but it's not. That's where the computer is. It's got a remote programming
Oh wow.
deal. Comes through the
Well,
firewall.
the other one you had was one of the first
Yeah.
setup. You had to do a lot of figuring and programming and
and
doing.
that was a plenum type tune port job on that 350. Here's your sensor for your oxygen sensor, goes in one of the bung holes on the,
So this is all. I mean, it looks
Wonderful.
pretty complete here.
yeah, a lot of parts.
A lot of parts. So we'll do some reading, and I'm actually looking forward to.
Here's the Bible.
There we go. Exactly. To following up on this. So as we put this together, I think we're going to do some more videos.
Okay, good
And
deal.
my son Jesse, I got to compliment you. I mean, congratulations on raising a good family. You're finishing strong, and you're finishing strong in like having fun.
Right.
It don't get better than that.
No, it doesn't. That's what you live
But
your
I
life for,
always-
to do the things you want to do.
I always told my son Jesse, in the context, it's not about what you know. I mean, it's important to be best you can be in whatever you're skilled at, to learn your skill.
Right.
But it's really about who you know
Yeah.
and the relationships that you have.
Sure, that's true.
So our kids
Exactly.
got to know each other and
Right.
went to school, and they're still,
Right.
I mean, although they're in their individual crafts, and
Right.
lawyers and doctors, and
Right.
I don't know what Jesse does. He's trying to be a businessman running the world. I don't know. But
Exactly. These ties are very important.
the relationships in that, and I'm sure they had their fun in high school. I don't know all the stories, but I'm sure they did whatever they did. But they drove each other to be excellence.
Sure.
I'm sure you know that I've known some of the kids that
Sure.
that Jesse grew up with,
Right.
and that's something we've lost in this country now.
Yeah.
It's discouraging, but I'm not totally discouraged.
Yeah.
I think we just need to get proactive.
Right. Well, it comes with the way you're raised. The way I was raised, the way I raised my kids, the way you raise your kids, you learn that stuff at home.
Well, I talk to your kids, and it's yes, sir, Mr. Chester. Yeah.
Sure.
And I don't want to discourage that.
Right.
No, I'm Bob. I'm just a guy. But
Sure.
just that level of respect that we ought to show each other. I mean,
Yeah,
if you've
you're
earned the
exactly
title of doctor, that's something you earned,
Yeah.
and you're worthy of.
Even though I couldn't wait to get,
you know, okay.
even though I couldn't wait to get grease on my fingernails again and smell like gasoline and brake fluid all day long.
But still, we
Sure.
don't respect each other, and as we're getting cars in here now too, I'm starting to see people don't respect other people's property.
Yeah.
And it doesn't, if it's my car, I don't care, and I'm sure you'd love to
Sure.
give kids rides and grandkids
Right,
rides,
right.
but don't disrespect it. Treat people's property like it,
Right.
and I don't even say do it like it's your own anymore,
Right.
because people don't respect anything.
Right. Yeah.
So at the end of all these videos, I
And
do.
basically, that's an old school philosophy.
It should
you
be
know,
the
Just
new
like,
school, and
you look around here, you see these vehicles. This is old school stuff, and that's a common thread that runs through people that still maintain and respect that old school philosophy. You know, that's why there's a common bond between old cars and old people who have common sense, old school philosophy.
Yep.
Yeah. You wish you still could maintain that throughout the society in general. You know, when you get older, you realize you can never be young again, but you can go back to that old school philosophy and bring back some of that old school. You can even drive an old school car if you want to. I'd rather drive this than a new Cadillac.
Well, I don't think it's too late. It says train up a child in the way he should go, and when he's old,
Sure.
he won't depart from it.
Right.
Yeah, we still have our opportunities. We're not gone yet, and
Sure.
I think we can't give up.
Right.
We can't give up.
Right.
Don't give up.
Right.
I'm going to ask a favor of you, though.
You bet.
So you're more of an observer. You've been in a lot of situations where there's a team coming together, and it's life or death situations, but almost on an observer level. So you get to watch the team.
Right.
You're in and out, and you're around and doing. I need to develop a great team because we want to build great cars, and you can't do that without a great team. One person can't do it. I mean, the head surgeon, if he's awesome, if his nurse don't give him the right scalpel or the right part he has,
True.
it doesn't
Right.
work. And I'm sure
Right. And all the people in the background are very
or
important.
the anesthesiast
Right.
turns the gas up a little too
Right.
much or whatever.
Well, I always
it
tell
could be bad.
people, what the anesthesiologist does, basically, he's the doctor that keeps the surgeon from killing the patient. And I did that for 44 years, I guess. Yeah.
So as you watch this come together,
Uh-huh.
critique me.
Okay.
I mean, give me a little while to get a team together. It's,
Okay.
it's tough in these times, but critique me. I want to,
Okay.
because I get focused. I'm kind of a hard-nosed guy. If I work well with somebody, I work well with them. If I don't work well with them, we don't work well together.
Right.
I like somebody that knows what I need without saying that was.
Right.
But it's hard to do, and it's hard to develop that, and it's a skill set we need to really learn again, maybe in this country.
Right.
Because everybody's saying it's hard to get good employees. Well, we need to train people.
Mm-hmm.
Our education system has failed us.
Sure.
We won't even go into trigger time.
Right.
You and I could go there pretty easy, but
And not everybody needs to be a doctor or a lawyer.
No.
There's a whole lot of money that's being wasted on college educations these days. There's a lot of money well spent but there's a lot of money that's been wasted, and you have people wandering around aimlessly who'd be, if they picked up a trade, learn something that they can make a living with, they'd be a whole lot better off.
And happy.
And our society would be better off too.
When you go home at the end of the day and you accomplish something,
Right.
you feel good about yourself.
Sure, exactly.
Right.
Yeah.
And hard work is not a bad thing.
No.
Because it ain't even work when you're doing
Better
what
than
you
a
like.
handout. It's better than a handout.
Well, that's true. This is great. We're gonna follow this up. We're
Okay.
gonna, and then as we get going, maybe when you come back and pick it up, we'll go over it again.
All righty.
You do good.
Can't wait.
Jason's hiding behind the camera. He doesn't do, he's waving. He doesn't talk and he doesn't do well. But
He's brains behind the business here as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah.
Because he knows how to put this thing together.
that's what it's all about. Well, very good. So that's it for today. And actually, we may do a few videos today that Josh is up here. I got 2 or 3 lined up. So
All righty.
we're
Thank
good.
you. Thank you.